How were you trying to watch what was happening, and how did that work for you?
Again, I'd like to watch all of it, and that's an angle I'm always used to watching it from. Obviously, we got all.
Like in players' faces, you know what I mean? Like you some.
Yeah.
Like we've seen.
Well, there was a lot that was I didn't need to correct a lot. Obviously, there's plenty of things that we didn't do well, and we'll get that coached off of tape. And but I'm looking for guys doing all the stuff, the little things right. Again, covering to the ball, playing physical, running on and off the field, just handling the business the right way, play the game the right way, and make the layups that are there. There was plenty of. We had a couple of procedural penalties. You had a couple of holds. We picked up the flags and lined up off sides a couple of times. Had the pass interference. So we got to get those things corrected. But I'm meeting with every single player over the next couple of weeks, so they're going to get lots of correction. In the moment. And today I just want to see these guys go out and play. We had a lot of guys 26 guys that had not been here before. So. Really wanted to focus on letting those guys go play without, paralyzing them, in the moment, and that's a real thing too. So, just trying to get big picture, and obviously we went for it a lot, fourth down and things. We didn't have our kicker out there, and we've got a lot of good looks at punting and things of that nature. I wanted to see our guys just continue to compete and play and give them a lot of situationals. To work through. So.
What did you think of the environment, Brent? I mean, just everything. You seem really excited, and just everything that went on.
Yeah, no, it's great. Again, I've said this, many times, and of course it's well known. The support that we get at the University of Oklahoma is second to none. And again, we don't take a backseat to anybody when it comes to support, fan engagement, the passion, the love for the Sooners and the former players. That's just not normal. And so I thought everything, the environment, I thought the production, if you will, was great. And fans were fantastic. And for us, it's a great opportunity. It's the only opportunity we get before we play an actual game to get in a game day type of environment and see how guys handle the emotion, and whether or not a guy will become paralyzed through those moments. So.
Did you feel like the way it ended? I know Jackson was saying it was kind of like a bow on top of it because he was kind of frustrated early, but just overall,
Yeah, again.
Way for it to end.
No, for sure. We couldn't have scripted it any better. We knew all along if we got into a 2-minute, we were going to go for a 2-point prior to that drive, and didn't know the game would be on the line. So that was actually kind of cool. And again, a great. There's good and bad in all of it. Defense can learn from it, even though they benefited from the drop. What do we need to do to not let a guy find a way to get open there, and then certainly. We'll learn, on offense, nobody hates it more than a guy that didn't make the play. So you got to make those layups, but a lot to learn from in that situation. But then again, Jackson, obviously, he was with a group that was super thin, and that's, again, as I said before, that's the reason why we didn't split the squads down the middle in the first place, just because of our lack of depth there and on the offensive line. So, we got to clean some snaps up. The snaps were inconsistent with that second and that third group, so we got to get better there. That's captain obvious. I know that goes without saying, but we've had a great spring, as I said. I told the team again, you know it when you see it and you know it when you don't. The improvement in some positions and players, it's more incremental, and then I saw a lot of guys that made tremendous improvement, and a lot of that's from the guys that just got here. And then, other guys that may be coming out of their freshman year, going into their sophomore year or redshirt freshman year, you saw a lot of guys get better. And that's just, that phase. Now after finals, we're getting ready to start our transformation phase, and it's a critical part of our development. And we got to continue to, have great awareness and guys having, self-accountability, and then, got to take action over the next several weeks post, May, if you will. So I'm really excited to see, the direction of this team. And we've got really good chemistry, tremendous leadership up to this point, and a lot of fun, just seeing a lot of improvement. And even in a can't tackle the quarterback scrimmage, you saw our guys play with, great energy and great effort. And that's when, guys are in a good place mentally and physically, and then obviously, having fun, and having passion, for the game. And that's what it's about. As they pursue perfection, I never want to drain their passion, and that's not an easy thing to navigate. And but we certainly intentionally try to help these guys always have perspective about where they're at, and have an appreciation for what's in front of them.
Brent, you saw a lot of portal guys, a lot of young guys in position and making plays today. I mean, Reggie Pearson, Bothroyd, McCullough, would you, looking at it now, would you say that was a very successful transfer portal that you had?
Again, there's a lot still in front of us, but even prior to today, been incredibly pleased with the work, the buy-in, the humility, the competitiveness, and then the play. It certainly hasn't been perfect with any of them, but there's signs that we're moving in the right direction, and that bringing those guys in are making everybody else around them better, and certainly they're going to be able to help us. That's, again, goes without saying as well.
Peyton Bourne picked what you talked about.
Yeah, excellent play, and can't wait to watch the film to see how early he got the jump on the ball. But excellent football play, and he's missed over half the spring because he had a little hammy, so we had to hold him out for several practices. But the best football for him is certainly in front of him, and really talented and instinctive, and really does a great job of anticipating. And if he just doesn't panic as a player. He's like that quarterback that'll, no matter what kind of kabuki you're throwing at him, he'll climb the pocket and be patient and keep his eyes down the field. That's how Peyton is as a safety, and can play multiple positions back there.
It seemed like the scoreboard got a little sticky for the defense in the second quarter. Who makes that call?
What do you mean, makes a call to not let it continue to get so sticky? Yeah, me.
And obviously a lot of
So we had a system, and then early in the week I was like, no, we got to reward these guys for PBUs and tackles for loss and sacks. And everybody told me that this isn't going to get fair, and I'm like, well, don't let them have a tackle for loss or PBU or sack. You don't got to worry about it. But our hands are tied a little bit offensively. You can't cut them, and what we're doing. There's a vanilla script and things of that nature. So it needed to be done.
obviously a lot of individual performances, but from an overarching standpoint with the defense, what did you make of today with this group?
Just played a little more precise, physical, tough, confident. Structurally pretty good, and then we had a couple busts there too. The offense made the defense pay. With touchdown mistakes. So some really good stuff to get on tape to learn from too.
Brent, Dylan was pretty mobile today.
Mm-hmm.
Are you guys more open to letting him sort of freely run whenever he wants to, or running plays since you have more quarterback depth?
I mean, that'll certainly be into play. How much more willingness, we'll still continue to evaluate, but we do feel better about our quarterback situation, obviously. So, and Dylan has shown, as he did, last year several times, the ability to escape pressure and make plays, improvise, and but design quarterback run will be something that we'll carry into every game, I would imagine.
What does it mean to have Kyler back here, and what do you feel that added to this week?
Well, I mean, obviously, he's one of the best to ever do it in high school and college, Heisman guy, and just amazing football player, humble young guy. A lot of people came back. Again, we had several hundred former players here, and he's a magnet for people. People love to watch him, and his teammates love to play with him. and he's quiet and to himself to a lot of media, but in the confines of the right places, man, he's a very loud guy, and but it meant a lot. It was cool to again be a fly on the wall to watch the ceremonies and watch him and his family, and the Cardinals, all the coaching staff, they were out here at the ceremony, and that was really neat to see. Support for what he accomplished in college. That says a lot about them. But in his own way, a very polarizing type of player. I'm not going to lie. Like several years ago when I was at Clemson, and all right, so we're watching the Alabama-Oklahoma matchup. I was like, of all teams to hope for, I was hoping to play Alabama and not Kyler Murray. As a defensive coach, I literally was like, I'm pulling for Alabama. I'm pulling for Alabama. I'm like, it's pick your poison. But honestly, I was like, I do not want to face that guy. And so anyway, amazing player, man. It's a real joy to have him here this weekend and celebrate him.
Brent, you said that to start spring, you thought this defense would be on a different planet defensively. We saw some glimpses of that today, I think. Do you still believe?
I mean, we have a long way to go, and the course of a season will, really, tell the story. And but we're making the improvement that we need to make, and there's still got a lot that we have to continue to develop and improve at for sure. So this was the step that was necessary to do so, though. Mm-hmm.
Did you feel confident stepping in on that 60-yard touchdown run by Jackson?
Say it again.
Did you feel confident stepping in on that 60-yard touchdown run?
Yeah, I saw it with my own two eyes right there. It's like a 4-yard gain. It really was.
Call it let up on it.
Yeah. Was that who it was? I just saw, body and hands and jersey. And so I know everybody would have went nuts. That'd have been the buzz, was that. And that was a good, nice run after he got tackled. It was a really good run.
Brent, when the defense was on pace for 200, that had to be momentarily exciting for you.
Yeah, we didn't plan for that. Again, I was like, this could get ugly really fast. It was good. Offense came back, though, responded. So.
Coach, how did you feel about the quarterback play today?
Good. Again, today was another day, and again, some of the things we did or didn't do was, obviously by design, and but I've seen them all spring, and they've been fantastic. They've been really good all spring, and we've gotten better there. From beginning to end, and again, that was cool to see that navigate a 2-minute drill there at the end with Jackson with that one group, around him to give him a chance.
What were the majority of
I'm sorry.
What were your thoughts on that final drive?
Just again, Jackson making some plays, the receivers coming back and making plays on the ball and catching runs, do a good job protecting, defense being in position, and there was some real good execution in some tight spots, and then again, doing the things necessary in the 2-point play to have a chance to win. So you learn from all of that, the good and the bad.
It
You good?
appeared that most of Jackson's reps came against the starters on defense. Was that
Yeah.
by design to challenge him?
Yeah, today, we'd been going against, good on good all spring, and so we wanted to change it up for the spring game, but obviously, knowing that it's going to be tougher on that group. And see how those guys handled it, every position, him included.
You saw him take off like that in high school, brought in the run play. You saw him take off like that in high school. To see him do it, I know he got tackled technically.
Right.
For a 4-yard game, but to see him do it against your defense, to see him do it against a college team, is that kind of reassuring, like you knew you saw that?
Yeah, I mean, again, we had seen it earlier in the spring too. So today was another day. And, again, he'll be the first to tell you he's certainly not where he was when we started the spring, but he's definitely not where, he wants to be either. And so, again, a lot of work. And, again, what I, have an appreciation about that group is the humility and, again, everybody helping everybody, supporting each other. That doesn't always happen. We know you gotta do a good job of nurturing that, and then have the right kind of dudes in there too that are about that.
Nobody knows what these guys will do, but when you look at potential for defensive playmakers.
Mhm.
What do you see?
I see 'em- I see it. I see it at all three levels. You know, potential for playmakers at all three levels, and you know, and really across the board, inside and outside, up front, and at linebacker. You know, Justin and Desan. You know, amongst others as cheetahs, and I know Justin moves around. Desan moves around as well. You didn't see a lot of it today, but both of them are. Those two guys are playmaking dudes. And Justin has just been like this since he's been here. You know, now he knows what to do. He's put in a lot of work in the off season and getting prepared. He was exceptional all spring, and you know, he's 6'2.5". He's 215 pounds, and he runs low 4.4. And then he's aggressive, and he's got. If you all spent some time around him, you would see he's got just this incredible upbeat personalities, ultra positive, even when he's getting his butt chewed out, and he takes, you know, responsibility, and he can move on. And I'm really excited to see what he's going to turn out to be. But you know, and again, Woody had a really good, strong spring, and we had some guys, you know, banged up at corner, but. You know, Josiah Wagner, you know, just thinking about the different people, you know, Josiah Wagner for, again, a freshman. He had I know I said that before, a really great spring. And, you know, Key Lawrence and Reggie Pearson and, you know, Peyton Bowen and obviously Billy Bowman. Those guys at safety, you know, give us more what a defensive secondary should look like, you know, and you know, Kendall Dolby and Kanai Walker and, you know, Makari Vickers, some of those guys at corner. That's been a lot of fun to see those guys get after it and improve. But, again, we got a lot of work to do, but I do see, you know, to answer your question, you know, playmakers, you know, opportunity, you know, playmaking, you know, at all three levels.
Brent, were there any guys that maybe we didn't see today or that were a little banged up that you were excited about during the spring?
I'd have to see the list of everybody. I apologize. Maybe you could ask me about them, and then I could tell you. But you know, we got some guys that we got to get healthy and get them, you know, in the middle of it. Again, a guy like Kanai Walker, you know, it's got a great body and length and speed, and you know, we didn't have him much at all this spring.
Offensively, Barnes and Rouse.
Yeah.
How about those guys?
Yeah, and Marcus Major and those guys, you know, again, Walter, you know, with all due respect, you know, I've seen certainly what he did at Stanford and see him, you know, moving around and do some walkthrough stuff. Really smart, incredibly hard worker. You know, I'm really excited he's going to help, you know, really bridge a gap there. And then, you know, Barnes was fantastic in the early part of spring and had a little thing on his toe. It just was bothering him, so we wanted him to be healthy when we started up this summer and put him on the shelf early. And then Marcus was really, we kept him out of non-contact most of the spring. We turned him loose one day, and then he banged up his hand, and he'll be fine. But, man, he looked terrific. He's really good, explosive, and he runs with great pace and strong and fast. You know, he has a chance to have a really big year.
What did you think of your linebackers?
It's good. They look good today. You know, when one missed tackle that jumps out to me that we got to be better, and we had a bust and you know, out there on the perimeter another time. But it's a really hard-working group. We're in a much better position right now than what we were a year ago. You know, coming out of the spring game, just a lot more clarity, and you know, really like where, you know, Kobe and Jaron and Big Phil Pachotti. You know, Phil's got, he don't know everything what he's doing, but he knows a little more than I thought he would know. And then he finds the football, and he's got a big live body. And then, again, we just got to get some weight on Kip Lewis. But Danny had a really good spring, super instinctive. He can play multiple positions. And Kip Lewis, and then we'll get Shane Witter back here really soon. And then I talked about Cheetah, and then we got some good young guys. Samuel Messiah is coming in, and Mr. Lewis is coming in here as well, and probably he'll start out probably at will linebacker right away. But I really like what Lewis Carter is going to bring to the table. He's very fast and super aggressive, very physical. He's a 400+ pound bencher right now, and he'll be wide open when he gets here.
Brent, you had a miserable regular season last year, everybody would admit.
Mm-hmm.
You go to Orlando shorthanded and you played your butt off.
Mm-hmm.
Played really well. Whatever momentum that created, has it continued?
Yeah,
What's
and
happened
again,
since Orlando?
yeah, look, and I said that earlier to everybody, but that we fell incredibly short of our standards and expectations. But this is a group. I think if they showed something last year through a really tough, challenging year, through a lot of strain and failure and experience where a lot of these guys had never had that experience before, but they kept swinging. They took a punch, and if that's the right term to use to describe all of it, took a punch and continued to fight, believe, played for one another, played with great pride, and you got to have that. If you don't have that, and you got a lot of problems. So for me, that gave me what I needed to see that says, I know a lot of other people don't see it, but I do. And having been in a lot of, locker rooms for a long time as a player and a coach, that's what it looks like. And again, there's no excuses that's going to justify, having the kind of season that we did. Internally we feel like, we know where we came up short in a lot of different places. And now again, as I said before, I don't know if you're building off of that, but I think even in that game, where we could have taken a strong, commanding lead and have a chance to win the game, and we didn't. But there are a lot of things that you can build off, from that and give you hope going into this year. And so I'm not sure if that's a momentum or not, but I don't think our guys have not stopped believing in what we're asking them to do and what the vision is, and again what it takes to be successful and for us to again flip that script.
Anything else?
This might be a loaded question, but do you feel like today you have a very good sense of what you got with this group, or is there just a lot of these next few
Yeah, I mean, again, through this, you feel, all right, we mission accomplished. We improved, we got better, and now you go back and certainly we're evaluating it every step of the way, but now all right, now here's where we're at, and here's what we got to add to it, here's where you got to improve, and some of it's going to be roster, some of it will be scheme, and some of it will be just, the plans for the summer, and again, continue to help the leadership lead, and so we can continue to make improvement. The improvement process isn't over. It's in many ways just beginning. So feel better. Again, like I say, we wanted to get better and improve, and we did, but we still got a lot of work to do. Okay, appreciate it. Good to see everybody.